AM 1450, FM 99.3, KNSI's Ox in the Afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome. We have Doug Wardlow joining us, candidate for Attorney General here in the state of Minnesota. So we'll look forward to taking his phone call here shortly. He is running against Keith Ellison. Before we get there, though, is that a saying that I'm unaware of? Is that like a South Dakota / near the Iowa border saying? That something's like a silo? Or you could put corn in something?
No.
You can put corn in that?
No.
No.
It's not a saying. No.
Not a saying?
No.
It's a great saying if it's like a farmer thing, like a corn farmer thing.
You could put corn in that.
You could put corn in that. Oh, yeah, because it's like a silo.
I figured we were rural enough that people would understand what I meant, but maybe I was wrong.
No, I was thinking, I went through the whole popcorn thing, like it's a popcorn bin, and that didn't make any sense. And why would you put corn in there? Because it's like a silo.
Right.
Very nice.
Maybe I should have said grain.
Could be.
I don't know.
Maybe
it's just a bad joke.
It's a big canister of cheese balls.
It's huge,
no doubt about that.
Good Lord.
Coming up on KNSI's Ox in the Afternoon, speaking of cheese balls, we do have some state fair food to go over. 1 week from today, the Great Minnesota Get-Together kicks off. That coming up. Maybe we'll try to go downtown quickly and see if one of the guys at Fifth Avenue Live can check in and let us know how it's coming.
See how it's looking down there.
Yep, should be a big night tonight. And then, again, there are some other things going on that we could cover if we decide to. But there is there's a study out, and it's just this crazy scientific study on breaking spaghetti in half. And I thought, well...
Pre or post-cooked?
Pre.
Okay.
Yeah, dry spaghetti.
Yeah.
I didn't know all these things. I'm a breaker.
You are, yeah.
I didn't used to be.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that here in just a few moments if that ends up being the case. But also, we have a big announcement tomorrow, just kind of teasing a little bit. But you'll hear of a new programming feature that you can appreciate coming up here as the Ox is hitting the road once again. We'll tell you all about it tomorrow. But in a couple of weeks, we will be broadcasting from our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. once again. A rare late summer, early fall appearance in Washington, D.C. for Dan the Ox Oxner and Ox in the Afternoon. But hear all about that coming up, as those live broadcasts will be the show coming up, kicking off the month of September. So more details on that and some sponsors as the days and weeks tick away here. But just tease you a little bit with that. So, yeah, we're back in D.C. here coming up in a couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to our latest journey to Washington. Third one of the year, I think. Might be just the second one. I forget. But we'll look more details on that again coming up later. You're really going to appreciate what we're going to be doing out there this time. So I think you always do. Hopefully, there's always something new and weird and unique going on.
Absolutely,
but, this should be
really cool.
Should be a really good one here coming up in September. So, but let's welcome Doug Wardlow, candidate for Attorney General, the man who we are all counting on to defeat Keith Ellison for Attorney General in the state of Minnesota and be the next Attorney General, the first Republican Attorney General in like 50 years. Doug Wardlow, welcome to Ox in the Afternoon again, sir.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Well, give me your thoughts on primary night. How do you feel about your opponent, and how do you feel about everything else moving forward?
Well, I'm really honored to have the support of the Republican electorate and the voters of Minnesota to become the next Attorney General of our great state. And so I'm thrilled, excited going forward here and just continuing to travel around the state and delivering my message. And it's simply this, that we need an Attorney General who's going to stand up for the rule of law, rebuild the criminal law division of the office, and not play politics with the office of Attorney General, not use it for political warfare. And I'm afraid that's exactly what Keith Ellison, my Democrat opponent, would do. He has said that he wants to use the office to wage a political war against the president, obstruct the president's agenda, and lead the opposition, and lead the resistance, is actually how he put it, against President Trump. And that would be entirely inappropriate.
None of that has to even take place in the Attorney General's office, right? That has nothing to do with being Attorney General.
That's right. It has absolutely nothing to do with being Attorney General. Now, what he wants to do is he knows that he could use the Attorney General's office to cause a lot of trouble, bring a lot of lawsuits against the president, join up with other Democrat attorneys general around the country, and just bring baseless legally baseless political lawsuits against the president and obstruct everything the president is trying to do. And so he wants to lead the resistance from the Office of Attorney General in that way, and he thinks that he could be more effectual opposing the president from the Minnesota AG's office as compared to his current seat in Congress, and that's why he's resigning from Congress.
So this race has got national attention. Doug, can you make that work in your advantage?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think first of all, it's a very good thing that there's a lot of attention on the race for Attorney General because it's an incredibly important office. There are somewhere between 150 and 200 attorneys there, I believe, and it's the largest public law firm in the state, and it's responsible for so much. The criminal law division is supposed to back up county attorneys to keep our folks safe and obtain convictions, and lead on important criminal law issues like human trafficking and opioids, fighting those terrible things, and dealing with regulations, pushing back the regulatory state, lifting the burden of regulations off of job creators. There's just election integrity, prosecuting welfare fraud. The list goes on of the important powers of the Attorney General. And the Democrats over the last couple of decades have not been fulfilling their duties with the office. They've been busy playing political games. They haven't been prosecuting welfare fraud. You're well aware of and your listeners, I'm sure, are well aware of the situation with Somali daycare centers defrauding our state government of up to $100 million a year. And it's the Attorney General is the only statewide official that has the authority to actually prosecute welfare fraud. Lori Swanson hasn't been doing it, and Keith Ellison certainly won't do it either. So it's important that we take this office back, and it's good that we have a lot of attention on the office so the voters of Minnesota can really come to understand how important this office is.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope finally we'll get some attention to this race because it's always just been a default to the Democrats for whatever reason, right, and very frustrating. This time around with Keith Ellison, again, I contend never winning a statewide election, which is a big deal, so he's, people aren't used to voting for him. And now with this new, is your campaign at all getting into these latest allegations of some of his personality and behavioral flaws?
Well, there are very troubling allegations out there, but I'm focused on my message and bringing it out to the state of Minnesota. And there are plenty of other reasons to be concerned about Keith Ellison. Keith Ellison is too extreme for Minnesota. Keith Ellison has associations with Louis Farrakhan. He worked for Nation of Islam for 18 months. That right there should render him unfit for office, essentially. Keith Ellison doesn't believe in borders. He has been seen in the parade wearing a T-shirt that reads, I don't believe in borders in Spanish. And he recently said that he thinks borders create an injustice, as he put it. So we don't want a person that doesn't believe in borders as our top law enforcement official.
As Attorney General, then, Doug, your message is what exactly?
Well, the message is that the Attorney General we need an Attorney General who's going to take the politics out of the office. It shouldn't be a political job. I'm not going to be playing political games with the office, waging political war against the president or against anybody else with the office. I'm going to be putting Minnesota first, keeping people safe, and making sure that businesses are playing by the rules, and making sure businesses know that if they do play by the rules, they'll have an ally in the Attorney General's office. So it's an office that we need to take back from the Democrats, and it shouldn't be a political or partisan kind of thing.
Would you agree with me if I were to say, and I'll just say it, I think police should be concerned if Keith Ellison becomes the Attorney General?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, Keith Ellison in the past has supported cop killers. Keith Ellison, during the run-up the trial for the folks, gang members who murdered Officer Jerry Hoff in Minneapolis in the early 90s, Keith Ellison spoke at rallies in support of those defendants. It's just terrible. Keith Ellison has a terrible record on law enforcement and would not be a partner with or support law enforcement. By contrast, I certainly will be supporting law enforcement and look forward to partnering with law enforcement and making sure they know that the Attorney General's office has their back.
Other roles regarding, say, like DAs and that sort of thing in the counties?
Absolutely. So our county attorneys, who are the prosecutors in Minnesota, they are going without support from the Attorney General's office right now. The Democrats have not been, taking over difficult prosecutions for county attorneys. The Democrats have not been providing support in terms of developing strategies to combat the opioid epidemic or human trafficking in our state. Not working with our county attorneys on any of those fronts, and county attorneys their resources are stretched thin, especially in greater Minnesota. So when I'm Attorney General, we're going to rebuild the criminal law division of the office and make sure that county attorneys or prosecutors have all the resources that they need to get convictions. Because they're stretched so thin right now, you see more plea bargains, and that means a Minnesota that's less safe.
Yeah, it sure does, and I know that a lot of these district attorneys are really concerned about it. This is a bigger office, I think, for with more impact throughout the state than the average voter realizes.
Yep, I think so.
How do folks get more information on Doug Wardlow for Minnesota Attorney General?
Well, you can go to DougWardlowAG.com. That's the website, and also on Facebook at Facebook.com/DougWardlowAG. And so DougWardlowAG.com is probably the best place to go. And you can make contributions there, too. It takes a lot of money to run a statewide campaign, and we need financial support as well.
Yeah, final question on that then. I was really impressed by the Minnesota Republican Party getting behind Jeff Johnson for governor in the primary here. Very, very impressive to see those two partner up and just hammer the airwaves. And are you finding cooperation like that from the Minnesota Republican Party for your race as well, sir?
Absolutely. The party is great and is cooperating and providing a lot of support, and that's really wonderful.
Just over the years, with the turmoil in the Republican Party in Minnesota, it hasn't been able to contribute all that much in recent races. So,
right.
Hopefully that's turned around.
I think we've turned a corner on that, and things are much improved.
Yeah, it's gonna take everybody, because again, you, the auditor,
right.
Those and Secretary of State, the constitutional offices just tend to be invisible, but yours isn't going to be invisible this year, Doug. Not with Keith Ellison challenging you. All right. Well, very good. Well, thanks. Be in touch, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Talk soon. Thank you.
Doug Wardlow taking on Keith Ellison. It's an open seat. There's no incumbent. But I'm sorry, but I don't think the cops, if you're driving around in your squad right now or whatever it is, I don't think you're eagerly and looking forward to a attorney general like Keith Ellison. I just can't. Wow. No borders.
Yeah.
Flexible laws. That's just, either that or he would have an amazing journey into reality if he ever got that job and realized, this is what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's that kind of guy.
I don't see it either.
Yeah. At 4:22, 22 minutes after 4 o'clock, 251-1990, 251-1990 on the Boulder Tap House studio or text line. Coming up, State Fair food. The State Fair starts 1 week from today. Can you stand it? We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll try to find our friends downtown St. Cloud, too, at 5th Avenue Live. 251-1990, also on the Boulder Tap House studio or text line. Join us on KNSI's Ox in the Afternoon.